Speaker of the House, Steve Harshman, thank you for joining us on this Capital Outlook profile.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, you've served since 2003, the citizens of House District 37 in Casper.
Right.
And I'm wondering, when you were banging pads around when you were a student at Black Hills State, if you thought of yourself in this kind of position.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think any of us probably have those kind of plans. At least I didn't. But I was as a kid probably a total geopolitical history nerd. I mean, I was a storehouse for useless knowledge. I think I knew every leader in every country in the world in the 70s, and so I was a student council kid in high school and even in college as an association of students involved in that thing. So I've always loved that process.
A Midwest Oiler?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Wyoming native. So yeah, proud native of this great state.
So when you were in college in Black Hills, you became an education major. Tell me how that entered into your life.
Well, like a lot of young people, I think the average person in college probably changes their major 3 times, and I don't know that I even was for sure exactly, but I kind of settled on, I wanted to, my love of history and kind of government and those kind of things. I was a composite social studies major, so you took all the social sciences, and my plan at that time was to take the Foreign Service test and work for the State Department and kind of pursue that route. And then I was playing college football. I played 4 years of college football there at Black Hills and wrestled actually a couple of years too. But I coached a summer football camp that our coaches, I was just a student assistant and just really kind of got the bug being around kids and doing that. And so I stayed really an extra year and added, another major and all the education requirements and those things, and kind of just kept working on it. And I think, it's the way it works. God has a plan.
So was there a time when you were thinking, well, where am I going to teach now? Where am I going to coach? And you landed back in Casper.
Yeah, I think so. I graduated, I think, May of '86, I think, at Black Hills, and I started graduate school in June at Oregon State. So moved to Oregon and had a graduate assistantship at Western Oregon, which was real close to Corvallis, and they kind of had a joint school of education. And so
a graduate assistant means you were like an assistant football coach.
Assistant football coach, and so it was learned a lot. You're young and you're just working and learning, and so that was really great. Did that for 2 years. Actually, had started my doctorate, kind of had gotten into the whole thing, and had a change of coaches. And when you work for a coach, I mean, that's who you work for. And when they leave, then it was time for me to find another job. And so that was kind of a crossroads. So I was offered a job in the western slope of Colorado in a town, Delta, Colorado. So I was married my second year actually out there. And so my wife and I, Becky, we moved to Colorado. So, and we're there for 3 years. And then our first child was born there, Sarah. And so, my parents are in Casper and Becky's parents are in Spearfish. So it was an opportunity, I think, to get back a little closer. Your kids kind of grow up knowing their grandparents, and that was really our motivation. And then, the job at Natrona County High School opened up, and I was 27. I 27 years old then, and, geez, I mean, to teach and coach in Natrona County High School, I just thought, wow.
Many people thought that Rosie Berger would become Speaker of the House. That didn't work out. How did that fall into your lap?
Right. I think, I think probably every legislator thinks, well, should I run for leadership? Because you have 60 leaders in the House. I mean, people who generally are there because they care and they want to make a difference and lead and those kind of things. And so I think, but I hadn't, that wasn't something I was really pursuing. And Rosie and I were both members of the 57th. We were elected at the same time and started serving in 2003, and I was prepared to support her. But I think, that's the way this works. I mean, voters make those decisions every 2 years in the House, and she had done a great job. And then with Tim Stubson, who chose to run for Congress, wasn't coming back. There was this void. And really, I think, serving on appropriations, you're involved in all the leadership meetings, you're working that process. And so I think just my experience, I think my colleagues trusted me enough to really to elect me to this office. So I'm grateful for their trust.
How did you approach it? Is it's like you're a coach almost, and you have to now lead this group of legislators?
Well, it is. I think, it's all about, there's a process to this, and we all have bringing people along, and it's all, in the end, I think this legislative process, it's like any team, you have to subject your own personal will to the wisdom of the group. And that's the way the process works. And even you might say, this is your bill and you put your name on it, but it's going to get changed in the process, and it's going to take teamwork to pass it. It takes 31 votes at least in the House, and then the process similar to that in the Senate. And so, so the will and the wisdom, I would say the group genius is what I call it, because none of us have the answer. And it's like any kind of group working together, pretty soon the best ideas boil to the top, and the rest of them are gently discarded, and they'll probably come back another day.
You've had an opportunity now, we're filming this in Cheyenne. We had an opportunity to do profiles before the session. We're visiting with you now mid-session. Any surprises? You're certainly in a time that is different fiscally than this state has been in for a couple generations. What's been the most difficult task that you've had as leader?
Well, I think, and we have a third of our body in the House is new, and frankly, a pretty good percentage that's, just in their second term as well. So again, it's a learning curve for all of us. Even if you've been there a while, you learn so much every year. So that's part of that, getting the process rolling quickly and being efficient. And worked hard at that, trying to get that, and trying to bring all new members along. Because
you actually attended the training.
Oh yeah, I sat through every minute of it and tried to add to that, and I'm continuing kind of some ongoing training. And I think we just don't have enough time for people to sit and think, well, I'm going to watch this for a year or two. And we have the youngest House maybe in Wyoming's history, and I think we have 4 in our 20s and 8 in our 30s. And when I was elected, it was considered the youngest because we had 3 in our 30s. Jeez. And so we're really young, which I think will serve the state really well. And but it's complete teamwork. It really is.
I want to push back just gently a little bit in that you often hear that in order to attract young people, you have to also have some amenities that they want today that would be different from what you and I were looking for when we were bringing our family to Wyoming. Those amenities might be more urban-centered, so to speak. Sure. So can Wyoming compete in the long term with that, recognizing that the needs and wants of recent college graduates might be different than what you and I were looking for years ago?
I think so. I think we have some of those urban spots, and they're going to continue to grow, I think, in Wyoming. But also, I think our small towns really have a certain kind of allure that of their own, and I think we have some wonderful places where, there's people that want that as well, and I think we have those advantages, I think, and around this state, and so. I don't disagree with what you said, but I think we're cognizant of that. But I think the number one thing for families too is to have a great education system. We've done that in this state. I think there's a lot of local economic development things that are really are doing those amenity type things in our towns, and I think as a state level now we're trying to pull this all together as well to really add value to our minerals, to all these value added things, and really to embrace these opportunities out there. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of movement going on, and every state is involved in this, and everybody wants to kind of develop. And I think Wyoming has some unique advantages that we want to use.
Finally, Mr. Speaker, I'm curious. There is a lot of pressure on education right now, and that's your profession.
Sure.
Would you hop back in the profession today if knowing what you know now, with the pressures and what it means to be an educator? Is that something you would still do and recommend to others?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's different, and you wanna. I guess if you love your job, you probably never work a day in your life. We've all heard that, and I think to work with young people, I think, is a tremendous blessing. They probably keep you young, and they keep you. I just think it's such a thing, and it's just really a blessing. So absolutely, I think Wyoming will be the greatest state to teach in. I think the support for our schools and our small schools and all throughout our state, I think, has really been unmatched. And I think the legislature's done a great job through our people, representing our people, and so we don't want to apologize for that. I mean, the expectations are higher. The requirements are higher. All of that is ramped up, but our kids are smarter than ever. We got the smartest kids we've ever had in our history. Our graduation rate is at the highest it's ever been in our state's history. Our scores are above the net. All those things all of this is moving in the right direction, and boy, I think that's something we can really be proud of. And so I'm just honored to have been able to do it. I mean, it's been my life's work, but it's really been a blessing. I mean, it's really, it's given me certainly a ton, and so I'm really grateful.
Mr. Speaker, it's always a pleasure to visit with you.
Yeah,
Thanks
my
for joining
pleasure.
us on
Thank
this
you.
Capital Outlook Profile.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.